because Kyoto Protocol have minority by many Europe industrial nations. So it's solely responsible for this thing because they get it already. So my question is, you explain for this.
Try to escape from taking responsibility to address the problem of climate change? No, the developed world take responsibility to combat the climate change already, while the poor country reluctant to solve that problem with the developed country.
Since I'm really disagree that you have said that my comment that the developing should a little bit responsible. I mean that it will be responsible when they have a gradual like the developed nation, when their own country develop to be a developed country as well like the other nations. And developers must solely responsible for addressing climate change and also solely responsible for taking action to address it possibly.
To respecting the role in this house. We will continue with the concluding speech from this side. Also, heavy pollution. It means that developing countries also have had in causing climate change. Secondly, is developing countries also while the developed world try to cutting down their emissions, but the developing countries they don't care about it. They try and steer to pollute the environment in order to improve themselves to become a developed world. So actually, in order to solve one problem that's caused by two countries, the two countries must be getting involved in solving this problem. Yes. If the poor nation do not take this responsibility for solving this problem, how can the only 37 developed world in the Kyoto Treaty can fully feed the rest of 154 developing countries? The last reason that cause the developing country must take part in solving this problem is the illegal obligation. It is the legal obligation. It is the legal obligation that the developing world must
stimulating certain sets of behaviour in the developing countries, and I don't see how countries that have coerced developing countries into behaving in a certain manner should be absented from blame. And I don't think that it is necessary for developed countries to be forced, developing countries to be forced to take action, responsibility for actions they had nothing to do with. That's accountable for it. It is developed countries that have done something wrong. It's not developing countries that have done something wrong. It is for their wanton disregard for the consequences of their actions, and therefore should be solely responsible for taking action taken by developed countries. It should not be footed by developing countries who are being coerced into behaving in a certain manner. As Martin has said, the developed countries are more than capable.
And after I have mentioned, my team and I still disagree with the motion. Thank you, Demo.
From your side, I really appreciate that why country more strongly responsible. It is the nature of the debate in the United Nations Convention of Climate Change. The developed country never share common position from developed country based on your view in order to increase the more effort to fight climate change. Thank you very much.
Thank the judges for their time, and Dr. Dear, because he's for 4 years, there was a lot of help and support, so thank you there. And for your team, there's been a lot of interest in the press about debating that, and we are being asked if we'll now organise a national competition. The team from Leeds
close? Yeah, it was. Are you going to go with these three? George, yeah. What time is the debate?
On a farm. As for footballers, we have defined them as professionals, which means footballers who have football activities or related activities as their sole source of income. Specifically, we argued that footballers maybe should be paid a lot less. So, to start off, most farms, or the majority of the farms in the world, there are small holdings. And a lot of the farmers, they generate their own land. This is very time consuming, it takes a lot of energy, and there's also a lot of risks involved, especially financially. A lot of countries, they have an environment and climate which is very unpredictable as compared to the farm. However, footballers is a much less risk involved with their career, because if a footballer gets much less. Also, we would like to highlight the fact that farmers have much higher importance for society. Farmers basically feed the world. Without farmers, there's no way we can farmers today, but we also need farmers in the future. As we have developed countries, we also develop.
In a way, farming is it's part of us. But most importantly, farming brings families together. I don't know about here, but I know in the past, because they were harvesting. In Africa today, when you harvest, you have to take it to the next family. Although everybody probably has time, do you? No, because farming brings families together. It encourages connection between people. But also it's jobs for local people. But even better today, farming brings jobs for international working migrants. We call them migrant workers. So every season they come to countries like the UK to pick potatoes, because people don't want to pick potatoes anymore. But the fact is, we eat more potatoes than anything else, because that's our staple food. There is domestic animals. It's just a nice place, and it encourages love for animals, really. The countryside is beautiful because of farming. When you walk through in the same house for a very long time.
What do I have here? Well, I have food over here, and I have a soccer ball or football. So for us, it's obvious that we need food to live and not football. Earns only 20 pounds per week. So what is the average weekly salary of a UK footballer today, or in 2010? 33,868 pounds. This is per week. In just 50 years, the salary of the average weekly salary of a footballer has increased by so much. In just 50 years. So, what am I trying to say here? Well, I'm trying to say that we are overvaluing footballers. So let me try to prove my point further. Does anybody here know what lacrosse is? Lacrosse? No? This is what it is. This is a sport. This is also the Lacrosse Players Association. The average salary of a major league or a national lacrosse player in 2009 is only 10,335 pounds per year. Well, I do admit that football is the most popular sport in lacrosse. But this is half of what a UK footballer earns per week. A person growing food in the UK is a middle-income earner, while someone who kicks a football to entertain us is a high-income earner. What does this tell us? Well,
Before I presenting my points, let me agree to the affirmative group say that because nowadays we can grow, we can improve the economic of the world, or even though it's global, it is not low. It is still not that. But if you look at the footballer, it can produce a large amount of $1 million for a month, for a year, to improve every sector in the world, especially in the country. Now let me present the point. Professional footballer only, and so the number of professional footballer in the world is extremely far less than those who be a family. So because of the skill, you know, in order to be a footballer, according to in order to be sport and against the extent and control footballer sport, especially football. And if you look at the peace, about the peace, footballer brings a large amount of peace among country, among group and group, team and team, country and country, and from continent to another continent. For example, if you look at about
something happen, it would be the problem for the worldwide, because people need to live with the food, not to live with the footballer. Another thing that I would like to research that find out about the people's starvation, they said that if we ban people not to have the food for 10 days, what will happen?
Their remarks and defend and summarize the negative speech.
All right. I am saying the second speaker from the opposition team. Our team strongly disagree with the topic that the farmer should be paid more for the farm worker. Meaning that we are trying to increase the labor cost. So when the labor cost high, so the price of thing that will the farm worker produce the product, produce the food without money if no one buys the product? So will the producer continue to produce? We have to think about this one. The answer must be no, because everyone they do business for money. So do the farm workers. They produce the product to sell to get the money as well. If no buyer, no seller as well, and no producer as well. We presented the first, the second, and the third point. So I will continue from the first point. The first point is about their income. Entry requirement. According to our research from the website of www.next about okay, the first point is about the training and development. Okay.
Sponsor can buy, the sponsor can benefit a lot of advertisement from the footballers, and after that they have, when they can do that, they can sell more product, and when they can sell more product, they have to build more company, and when they build more company, there are a lot of work.
Welcome back. Now the time has come for open cross questioning session.
Travel, everything, generate huge amounts of knowledge.
Violent tensions and racism, and football helps solve those problems. Football takes stance against racism, it stands against violence, right? It's not that football causes violence, it's that sometimes violent people are inclined to help support football, right? And football takes those people in and makes them better. It teaches them about racism, and it teaches them about hooliganism. You take people off the streets, into bars and pubs, get them to sit down on a TV screen and listening to footballers denounce people who are racist and denounce people who are violent. We think in fact it helps solve hooliganism.
Okay. Let's say hypothetically that we agreed with everything you said. We don't, but let's say that we did. How does bringing footballers' wages down to the level of farmers solve the problem of global farming? they should do is make bigger proportionate compared to it. Now, there was actually a time a couple of years ago where football was just as good, just as popular. It was called the 1920s, where footballers made £5 a week. I'm not saying we're going back to that. I mean, they are now bigger stars than they've ever been. Humans always love their sports stars. However, the way we see the economic system of this is that it inflicts, it puts too much money, too much financial weight into something that isn't a basic need of the humankind to survive.
Increase the population of the globe, there may not be enough farmers and farm workers to actually sustain the population. What would you rather do, watch football or eat?
First of all, it's simply not true to assert that we don't have enough food. We have more than enough food to feed the entire world. The problem is the distribution of that food. The problem is getting food to Africa. That's just a fact. We grow enough grain. A lot of it just rots away and we don't even eat it. So that's a problem that we get around.